Welcome to Scale Her Up, the Female Entrepreneurs Show with me, Brenda Hector. I'm a business growth specialist, helping business owners to develop themselves and grow their businesses so they can achieve their goals and enjoy the lifestyle they dream of. I'm on a mission to revolutionise the entrepreneurial landscape for women in business. In every episode, I interview someone who has an inspiring story or some great advice for women aiming to start or scale their businesses. If you're new to the show, take a moment to subscribe right now so you don't miss any upcoming episodes, and please check out the previous ones after listening to this. We have an awesome Facebook community. Just search for Scale Her Up and join in. Welcome to Scale Her Up. I'm Brenda Hector, and with me today I've got Zara Grant from Love Rara and Your Love Rara. So thank you for joining me, Zara. It's really nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So yeah, let's just start with Love Rara and Your Love Rara. What is it that you're doing?
Okay, so a lot of people don't realize, but so everyone knows Love Rara as the brand. So I don't know if it's gone really noisy. I'm sorry, because everyone's
I
like,
can't hear anything.
okay, that's fine. Yeah, so everyone knows Love Rara as the brand. They know it as the princess company, the superheroes, parties, events, like the fairy parties and stuff like that. So everyone knows that side of the business, but they don't actually realize that Love Rara we have three companies. So we have Love Rara, which is our entertainment company that's been around for 11 years. Then we have Love Rara Kids, which is our coaching program. So in this program, we teach and develop children's confidence, abilities, for acting. So we're pretty much coaching them to be little mini raras, we call them. So we have mermaid swim schools that they can attend and they can be mermaids. We have holiday camps, activity clubs, musical theatre clubs. So that's called our Love Rara Kids. And then Your Love Rara is our community project. So it's a not-for-profit organisation, and all the money that we make from our cafe and our room rentals goes back into our community projects. So some of those projects include art club for 6 years and over to help mindfulness. We have our youth club. We have our under 5 program, which is happening right now. We have our volunteer program for 12s to 25s and the 25s and overs as well, so they can learn new skills and look at health issues in the community and ways that we can help strengthen our community and do different projects to support our community more. So there's a lot.
There's a lot going on. Yeah. And so you said everybody knows Love Rara as the brand, but maybe not everybody who's listening. So
Yes.
yeah, so you've been doing
It's entertainment company, yeah. So I started my company with like £50 in my pocket, and I handmade a little fairy costume, like a rainbow fairy costume. And I just started, like I bought my insurance and I just started as a face painter. And then as I've grown, like so has the company's evolved with me. And now we have 22 staff and 52 volunteers. Yeah. So quite a big team.
Wow. So tell us about you then. Tell us about your journey to starting that business with £50 in a hand sewn costume. What
Yeah.
brought you to that point?
So, I don't know. I was sick when I was 16, so I was actually homeless. And then I'm one of those people, so I feel like there's two people in the world, and like you could be there and feel sorry for yourself and everyone's horrible and it's the end of, like, you know, doom and gloom kind of thing. Whereas I'm really optimistic, forward thinking, and I knew I wanted to get myself out of that position. So I have always like lived life to the full, and I just try and take as many opportunities as I can. And even if that's moving to the other side of the world for an ex-husband, only knowing him 3 days. Yeah, I just think you got to live life because you just don't know what tomorrow will bring. So I started my company originally making hair bows, and then I realized like it was very time consuming. You didn't really make much revenue from it, and it was really hard because I had a newborn baby. So I started my company when I had my daughter. And I think I was just like, okay, well, there seems to be a need for it, because in the area, and when I started, there wasn't really anything. The only person that was really doing entertainment for children's birthday parties was Gary Seagraves, who's still around doing his magic, and Lisa Lollipop. And I feel like they were the only ones that were kind of doing children's entertainment. So I've always been super creative, and I always like theater and dance, and I used to pretend I was a little fairy in the garden and stuff, and I used to pretend I was a mermaid. So I've always liked the whole magic aspects of things. So that's kind of where the idea and concept came from. And then as I've grown, and like even the community, we just continuously evolved. And I call it pivot. We pivot to suit what's happening, because obviously we've gone through COVID and everything, and we quickly pivoted and put everything online, and did an online shop and stuff like that. So I think I don't give up. Like, that's one of the things that I definitely have a strength of, is determination and not giving up.
So I was going to ask you, you've touched on COVID there, I was going to ask you about the challenges that you've faced in business over the years.
So I think the biggest challenges I've faced is people not taking me seriously. Like, they just think it's like a fairy company, or I'm just a fairy lady. So I think that's definitely one of the challenges. It just takes one person to believe in you. So I was really lucky. Originally, one of my friends who works at Bannintyn's, she believed in me and believed what I was doing. So we got to use that pool to start our mermaid sessions, so that was like your first step. So it just takes one person to try and convince like what you're doing is a good plan. So I think that's been challenging, trying to find new venues and stuff as well. COVID was a massive thing. We were lucky, we were away to do a first aid training night, and we had all the staff there. And then obviously the lockdown was announced, and I just said to them, grab a costume. Who knows what we're doing? We'll just go online, So everyone just grabbed a costume and then went at home, and we quickly put on an online videos and stuff. But we were really unlucky with COVID. A lot of people were getting these grants, and we didn't get anything because we rented from a charity. So we didn't get any of the grants or anything that anyone else got. So we just had to kind of lug it out kind of things. So it was definitely very difficult. Another one I've had, which was quite major, is the Beach Leisure Centre shutting down, where we were originally based with not much notice. I had to quickly try and adapt and finding new premises as soon as I can. But it's worked out in the best. Like, the Castlegate is such an amazing area. You hear all this bad talk of the Aberdoomers on Facebook, but actually if you come to the city centre and you see the rejuvenation plans and all the stuff that's happening to make the area better, like, I feel like I've got a really good position for my company at the moment, because they're investing so much into the city centre.
So I've been there, I've seen the premises, I've seen the shop, I've had a coffee. So yeah, if anybody's not been, I think I would encourage them just to come along and see what you're doing there. And yeah, just on the Castlegate at the bottom end of Union Street, or
I know, I always say the bottom,
but I call it the bottom, at the bottom of Union Street in Aberdeen there. So yeah.
And that's the thing, is we're open all the time, so you can just come in and have a coffee, and it's kind of food for thought, we call it. While you're having your coffee, the money actually goes back into our youth projects. So you're supporting children's and teens' mental health and well-being, and it's run by the teenagers who run it. So it's always great to come along and support local.
Yeah, no, it's a fabulous little venue you've got there. Well, it's not so little even. But yeah, it's great. So yeah, you were saying that there are a group of under fives there today.
So we have an under 5 program, so it's only £2 to come, and it's just an interactive session where parents can kind of connect and get to know one another. We do also sponsor low income households if they can't afford it, and then we have our giving tree, so if they want to stay in the cafe afterwards, they can come and take a meal, a hot meal, because quite often a lot of them, the feedback we were getting is that they didn't have enough money to come to sessions, or they didn't even have enough money for food for themselves. So we've created these programs where they can come and feel included and not feel guilty parents, like they can come and have a good time and enjoy a meal just like everybody else.
Oh, it's lovely. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So, still talking about Zara then. What have you learned about yourself over your years in business?
I'm probably a workaholic. No, I actually, do you know, the funny thing is, I think we all evolve and grow, and like new things have always come to light, which maybe I wasn't expecting. So one of my main things is I didn't realize like what I do had so many different job roles, like HR and marketing and promotional. Like I just didn't realize there was like different roles. Like I literally was doing everything and wearing all the hats. And I would say, do you know, I actually feel as if I'm quite good at boundaries and utilizing my time, because I think sometimes as a business owner, we can get too like caught up in it and you don't have any time to yourself. But I do try and make sure like I have my days off, and sorry. I try and have my days off and take some time for me, because I think it's important. If you create burnout for yourself, you can't help others. And I've learned that the hard way. I've had a couple of burnouts, so 2 burnouts I've had, and I think that's why I feel so strongly on mental health and well-being.
Do you want to talk about more about the burnout and
Yeah,
how that
yeah.
happened and how you came back from it?
Yeah, so I would say like mental health for me is like such a strong thing. People don't really like speaking about it. Originally, when I first started my company, I didn't realize it was going to grow the arms and legs that it did. And I started getting recognized quite a lot, like out in public. And I used to get a bit overwhelmed because I thought that people were thinking I was a bit obnoxious because I didn't know who they were. Like they'll come up to me and be like, "You done my daughter's party," and I'm thinking, I don't really know who you are. But then I would realize now it's not me. Like people identify me as Love Rara, but it might have been my team who have done it. So I don't feel that guilt anymore. But that did start to get on top of me, because I would hate for people to think like I didn't appreciate them coming and having parties and stuff. So that got a bit of an overwhelm moment for me. And then unfortunately, the recent burnout, I have been having quite severe headaches and sickness, and I actually tried to take my life. So yeah, this is quite a bad one. I got admitted to hospital. Someone had reported me to the police, and they ended up finding a cyst on my brain. So at least now I know there's something there, and it's not just me losing my mind a little bit. So because I was forgetting things, I was dizzy, I felt sick, I was fainting quite a lot. And I just thought it was burnout, but it ended up being something medical. So having to have an illness and try and, like at the moment I'm volunteering to be here to keep everything running, is quite difficult, because some days I'm absolutely fine and other days I'm not. But I'm lucky enough to be like I got funding from the National Lottery Fund, and they've paid for me to have an assistant now who's helping with a lot of the programs within your Love Rara, and that's been a huge asset, because I think like I couldn't really afford to hire someone to have someone's wage paid. It like worked out quite well for me. So I think that's one of the things I've learned is like I'm really too generous in business. I always like pay everyone else and do everything for other people and create jobs for everyone else. But realistically, we have to step back sometimes. And that has made me like maybe evaluate my company a little bit more and look at my life and my kids and my family and see like what are the best avenues moving forward. Because I think sometimes I'm too busy trying to help everybody else that you forget to look after yourself. So I think that's the main thing.
That's so common though in business, and as a business grows and it gets to be more people, and whether those are customers or whether they're team members,
Yeah.
often the business owner feels that they're responsible for everyone and looks after everyone else and doesn't actually focus on themselves when,
Yeah.
you know, you stay in an airplane, you put your own
God
oxygen.
first. I know. And I think that's the thing is like my team are amazing. They're super supportive and they've helped me a lot through issues. But I think like as owners, we become so connected with our team that we want to put everything into them, but we need to also realize it is a job for them. So they will be move on or have kids or have family. So it's making sure you have the foundations to look after yourself before you try and help anyone else. And like I've only just had this kind of thing since November last year, like when I got diagnosed, you know, because it'd become too much for me. Like I just found I was helping everyone else and I wasn't getting help myself. So I think that's one of the difficult things. I don't have any family here. Like I am by myself. I'm a single mum, you know, so and someone I did trust kind of took that trust and used it a little bit while I was vulnerable. So it's kind of like realizing actually you need to pay attention to yourself, pay attention to your surroundings, and then fix your own little home first before you try and fix everybody else's. I feel like I've gone so deep. Like
You have. But yeah, I was thinking, where do I go from this? And we're just going to take it back to have to take it back to the business. And thank you very much for being so open
yeah,
and
I didn't think I would go so open, but I always do this. I wear my heart on my sleeve and I tell everyone everything. I'm an oversharer. But yeah, I think that's it's important to realize like we all have flaws, and I think quite often on social media it looks like you have the most perfect life and everything's amazing, and I am such a happy positive person. Unfortunately I just had got in my head and I got myself into a really dark place, and I think that's where you probably do need to speak about mental health a little bit more so people can understand it a little bit better as well.
no, thank you very much for being so open. You we're talking about the team then, and like your responsibility for the team, and you know that's a lot of people that you've got within the organisations. How have you gone about finding the best people and keeping them and managing them? Because that can be a big challenge for a business owner. Often they
Yeah.
reluctant to take that step, or they take that step and it doesn't go very well. So what's been
I
your
would
experience?
say for me personally, it's been such a learning experience. I work with such young people. So it's really fine line because we have two different programs. We have our volunteer program, which is like youth led from 12 to 25. So it's quite a young age. So it's finding that balance. Whereas staff, their expectations is like they are staff and they need to remember that they are staff and it is a job. But because it's so blurred sometimes because our job is such a fun working environment, sometimes unfortunately some of our teenage staff forget it's a job and we are trying to run a business. And I think that's been a huge learning curve for me as well because just HR issues. I didn't even know there was a thing as HR, and I've only just learned stuff as I've gone. And like just making sure you have the best policies and procedures in place. And sometimes it's that pivotal moment, we call it, we pivot all the time. Yeah. You don't really have in your head what like things could happen. And like you can't prepare yourself for everything. And I think like people need to realize you are human and like there is sometimes going to be mistakes. But I think like recognizing that then it's great because like I always openly admit if I've made a mistake and I apologize and I take like action from that, like I learn from my mistakes. So I think my team respect that. So a lot of my team, they've been here for at least a couple of years. One of my major staff members, Stefan, he's been here for 8 years, so that's quite a long time. And then I think you never leave the Love Rara family. We have like a cover page. And so some of them who've worked for me for 5, 6 years, they'll come back and help out at like big events or workshops and stuff that we do. I would say since COVID, work ethic has changed a lot. And so there's a sense of entitlement now rather than having to work for something. So I've definitely noticed this within the young people. So it's a lot more difficult to educate them that actually you do need to work to receive something. Like, and I think that's where since COVID, I've noticed a huge change, and especially with confidence and stuff as well. You feel like a lot of children or teens lack confidence or communication skills and stuff. So we do try and teach a lot, but that's why I always recommend volunteering first. So you can learn the skills, so then you can come in and be an entertainer. Because the entertainer, you are hosting and holding the party. So you do have to have quite a lot of confidence for that. I definitely struggle at the moment trying to find team members. There's not a lot of people in Aberdeen who do acting and actressing and stuff like that. And I find my team is always quite relatively young, but then also we have this standard that we have to try and reach. So it's a little bit more difficult when you don't have willing participants or people who aren't passionate about theatre or anything like that. It is a little bit of a different job compared to normal jobs.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating though. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely, I think, yeah, I would say since COVID, it's been a lot more difficult to hire. And I've spoken to a lot of small businesses or even businesses, and they are finding the same thing, that there's not many people who want to really do the work anymore. And I think the event industry, and because of the hospitality industry, they got so severely hit during COVID. I think a lot of people are timid to go back into that industry.
Yeah, that's a good observation, actually. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. And you would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think, I don't know, here's me living in my now. So I'm like, just do what you all love to do. And I think that's like, if you love acting and singing and dancing, and you want to pursue a career in that, this is definitely a big platform to do it. Because we've had lots of staff go off to cruise ships or down in London, or we've got some of them doing the panto and stuff this year, so there's a lot of skills that you can learn on the job that you can take into future education or future jobs in the future.
And then look at you turning that something that you loved into a successful business. So
yes, I know. It's like, yeah, it's kind of weird sometimes. I do forget, like, I did live on the streets, and then now I've got, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm a boss. Like, it sounds strange. And that's like people quite often will use the word entrepreneur. But I don't see myself as that, because I'm pretty, like, I try and stay a little bit grounded, and just sometimes people ask me if I'm the owner, and I'll say no, just because they treat you differently if you're the owner sometimes. So I'd rather just like get my little face paint and do like the kids' parties and stuff, because I still am very hands-on. I do a lot of the different activities, and it's purely because I enjoy it.
That's really interesting that people treat you differently when they know that you're the owner.
Yeah. It's the same as staff, though they act differently when I'm here and when I'm not here. But my team are really strong at the moment, so we've got a really good team behind us. I trust them.
Good. So in terms of women in business then, because that's the purpose of the podcast, is to inspire others, let others hear your story, and to be able to think, oh, if Zara can do it, maybe I can do it.
Yeah.
What do you think we can do to increase the number of women that are starting and scaling businesses?
So I have like some top tips, I would say, is like, don't take no for an answer. Like, one person might say no, but don't be deflated by it, because maybe they just don't see the vision, but you'll find somebody who will see your vision. And then I would always say, worry about yourself. Like, I think this is one of the major things with women's in business. It's like, I hear it all the time with people starting their companies, because we have a platform here where we do room rentals, and we have shop space where people can do their products and stuff. And quite often, businesses will speak or slander other businesses I'm not for that at all. Concentrate on what you're doing. And if you want to get inspiration for things, look abroad, look at different pages. We've got social media nowadays, like look for inspiration abroad and then bring it forward. Because like I think a lot of time people get annoyed at people copying or stealing work, or, you know, they're too busy worrying about that person and their business. And like, for instance, myself, I'm got my blinkers on because it's such like I'm focusing on me and what I'm doing. Like, I don't have time to focus on anyone else. I'm not pouring my energy into somebody else's business. Pour it into your own business. So that was definitely another thing. And I think having clear boundaries, like I think this is one of the things that even people or customers forget. We do have opening hours and closing times. I have people sometimes will message me on a Sunday night, and then they'll message again, and then they'll message again, and why are you not answering? And it's like, we are closed on Mondays. Like, we do not answer messages and stuff on Mondays. You have to give yourself downtime. You can't work 24/7. And yes, you might lose that booking because you haven't answered fast enough. But if you have like a little thing that comes up that says, I'm out of the office, or like, we'll be back on Tuesday, people will wait for your quality of things. Or if they don't wait, somebody else will want what you have. Like, you don't need to give away everything to everyone. Like, make sure you take your day off.
Oh, fantastic advice. I've written those down. I'll be sharing those for sure. That's brilliant. Thank you.
No problem.
I know this will be an interesting question because I asked this to a lot of people, and knowing your history, um, if you could go back to 18-year-old Zara, what advice would you give to her?
I don't know, because I've always been quite crazy. Like, I think 18-year-old Zara, Zara, save some money and stop going out dancing and clubbing so much so you can get a deposit for a house. No, I don't know. Do you know what? I've always just lived life like to the fullest. Like, I'm really spontaneous. I'm going to Prague in a couple of weeks just because, you know, like, I think you just got to do stuff. Like, I love random road trips and stuff like that. So the only thing I would maybe say is, no, I don't have any regrets, because I think like if you have regrets, you don't learn from things. Like, I moved to the other side of the world when I was 19, and I don't regret it. Like, yes, I'm in Scotland now, which I did come from Australia, which was nice and hot, and yeah. But I wouldn't change it, because then I wouldn't have my children and I wouldn't have my business. And I love my little rainbow world that I've created, you know. So I think, yeah, I wouldn't change anything. That's so strange. Like, I'm quite
Yeah. Actually, I'm thinking that would be an interesting thing to tell yourself at 18. Yeah, don't
yeah,
worry. By the time you're this age, there'll be no regrets. Live your life. I love it. That's a
yeah. I think
really
that's the
powerful
thing.
message, isn't it?
It's always, there's lessons to be learned. And I think like that's maybe another thing is just do it. Like, sometimes people overanalyze themselves so much. And I find that even with my work, like they'll be like, oh, creating a Facebook post, and they'll crop it and they'll edit it and the colors might not be right, and oh, the wording's not right. Like, I am rubbish at spelling. I'm rubbish at English. My friend used to get me in trouble all the time for my grammar because she's an English teacher, but I'm a fairy. I don't care. I'm putting it out there, and we got work from it. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect to put it out. And I think like just getting yourself out there will help your business no matter what. I used to walk around the supermarket in a fairy costume handing out business cards. Like, you just have to go for it and share your love. And I think that's one of the things I probably will recognize is that you might lose friends along the way because they will get sick of hearing about your company, but they're not worth keeping in your life anyways, because they're taking away energy from you that maybe is negative energy. You don't need that in your life. You need girls around you, which I have like these amazing women around me who are very strong and confident, and they know what they want, and they're all like pushing me to the best I can be. And like, even sometimes when I feel down, they'll say to me, Zara, come on, you've been through so much, you'll get through this. This is nothing, you know? So it's having those little cheerleaders. And if you don't have that support, put that cheerleader in your head. Like, I felt alone quite a lot myself. And it's just to prove people wrong. I don't know how many times men have looked at me like I'm an absolute crazy lady. And it's like, because they're like, wait, you're a mermaid or you're a fairy? Like when I go to these business meetings, and it's like, yes, but I actually have 22 staff and 52 volunteers. And they're like, wait, what? You know, so you can play on it sometimes, I think. Yes, I'm a mermaid and a fairy, but I'm also
I think
an
I've just found the title for this episode. It's I'm a fairy and I don't care.
yeah.
I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's the thing, is just embrace what you're doing. And if you can't believe in yourself, how is anyone else going to believe in you and your company and your business? Yeah.
Oh, Zara, it's been an absolute pleasure to interview you today. And yeah, we're gonna stop on that note because I think it's just perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Thanks for listening to Scale Her Up, the Female Entrepreneurs Show. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and join our Facebook community at Scale Her Up. Please connect with me, Brenda Hector, on social media and drop me a message to let me know how you're enjoying the podcasts, or even better, pop up a review. I'll finish by reminding you that only 1 in 3 UK entrepreneurs are female, and men are 5 times more likely to scale their business to over 1 million in turnover than women are. If we started and scaled our businesses to the same extent as men, it would add £250 billion to the UK economy and provide millions of jobs. Ladies, you can do it and make a massive difference.